Happy Independence Day, planet Earth. It's funny, I've had all the numbers today, and it was a bizarre day because within 48 hours I've had over 12 inches of rain. We've had over 300 mils, so we're flooding at the moment, but on top of the hill, so all is well. So anyway, this video that I'm putting together right now, don't underestimate it. I'm about to release upon you a truth bomb. And we're talking about like recently we've separated the wheat from the chaff. Beyond that though, I'm going to hand to you something that potent that essentially it will destroy the matrix for you. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it needs to happen now. You need to understand what's holding it together. Fortunately, and for all myself, our good Lord Jesus Christ and my angels and all the rest of it have definitely exposed beyond all reasonable and unreasonable doubt this truth to me that's more dangerous than anything else that I've come across, because it's so beautiful and there's so many doing it. It's just it's hidden in plain sight of day, and they just the systems itself need you to know this, but they don't want you to know this because it's all about control. So the issue is control, and as Jesus Christ is my witness now to this, any satanic entity that wants to get involved to try and block me from being able to bring this forward, you are bound in Jesus Christ's name and cast into the pit. Please leave me alone. Let's continue on. So any listener listening to this, I protect you now in Jesus Christ's name. You are protected. You have got a legion of Archangel Michael's angels, sent to you right now to ensure that you hear what needs to be said. So I discovered why I've been locked up twice and why I could have been locked up again, but because I had the right support network this time around me, it allowed me to figure out what I needed to understand. I no longer need to have hate in my heart anymore. Not that I wanted to, and I had already forgiven what had caused the initial issues, and it was hard enough to have that forgiveness, but it's been had. But this shatters all generational curses. It just shatters everything. It's like I've outgrown the matrix. And I wouldn't be the first person to say that, but when you understand what this is, you'll grab it. And it comes from a certain level of maturity that you've got to grow into and grow beyond. Right. It's just funny that the answer I was looking for was sitting in a website called The Fool. Is it fool.com.au, The Motley Fool. Isn't that unbelievable? This is how the Lord works. He's just a practical joker. It's fantastic anyway. So we want to go a little bit forward or a little bit back. Like when I first got my first lockup, and I'd been doing self-development for a few years, and no need to worry about how I got locked up or what happened, but when I took it to court, the judge pulled it apart pretty quick and was quick to say, look, there's nothing wrong with you, but the world's not ready for you yet. See, I discovered a truth, and that's what had sent everyone around me wild, and they had to try and shut me up because it was too unbearable for them to think that some silly little Aussie from the outback could break all status quos and actually essentially destroy all the control matrices that are supposed to hold us into a place of bondage. So we're talking about planetary bondage anyway, and this isn't bad. That's what I'm saying. It's an answer that's sitting in the plain sight of day, and we all have it available to us. It's just once you recognize what it is, it's a truth that destroys everything, and we need that truth. And there's nothing dangerous about. Isn't it funny that as I'm doing this, we've just had a blackout? I'm a full. I'm glad that this is all happening the way that it's happening, because I know that this is my purpose. So we're going to cop everything to try and stop me getting this out, but I'm so glad that this is on a phone. Right. Got to get the bloody computer going again, so I was going to read something to you. You've just had the confirmation of what I have to go through. It's constant. But it's done. It doesn't matter anymore. It's like I've outgrown what kept tripping me up. The stumbling blocks that I went through, though, in regards to getting to this point, it was probably the storm that I was in was at its worst a fortnight ago, even worse than what it was 10 years ago. It's just got worse day by day by day by day by day. And, essentially, God uses these storms to grow us and grow us quick, damn smart. Is what it is. Right. So, we just had a, what's it called? Blackout. Back to it. So after being locked up the first time and then being locked up the second time when I got back to Australia, because Australia is not just, look, the world's shit. It doesn't matter where you live, planet Earth is shit. It's condemned. And it is. It's shit. And it will get better as more and more people understand what I'm about to expose here. Full disclosure, we're not talking about aliens. We're talking about the issue. And this needs to be understood because adult children are ruining this planet as we speak. This is the control matrix, adult children. Right. So the second time I got locked up, it had the remnants of the first time. And then that time had the remnants of all the other times where I've got all this blood on my hands that, like, I have not been able to redeem other than to surrender it over to God because, like, we live in such an aggressive planet that they will kill you if you fix things. And so, like, I ended up in a scenario where just, like, you just got to keep your mouth shut. That is what it is. God's dealing with that right now as we speak. Anyway, back to it. So, today, it's funny. I thought it was... Today happened exactly the way it was supposed to, and I can't believe that it did because it just didn't make any sense to me that it did the way that it did. Right. My Destiny Helper called me at 11:11 today. And the conversation itself happened the way that it was supposed to, and the outcome itself happened the way that it was supposed to, even though, like, I still was 747, I was still none the wiser to thinking that I was having a breakthrough. And, like, sorry, I just had dinner. I only had the breakthrough before dinner and I had to get on here. So, where I'm at right now is as of last Friday, the Friday that's just gone, the moment I left one of these properties that I've been looking after, I've tied off all my loose ends, right? And I've just, where we're at right now is like, it should have taken a lifetime, and in 2.5 years, I've got these places up to scratch. It's just, it is what it is, but it happened quicker than it should have, but it's all happened in the exact timing that it was going to happen, right? So, as I was having a conversation with them today, it's just funny because the actual conversation finished at exactly 12:12, and then I got 1 1 1 2 2 2 3 3 3 4 4 4 5 5 5. It's been non-stop. The conversation didn't seem special to me, except for by the end of it, after I explained that I've got no toiling left, all I've got is faith, because I put my faith in God with this to be able to produce what I believed to be the next step for me, but it didn't. And with everything that I was perceiving, everything that I was visualizing, what I thought was supposed to pan out the way that it should have, it hasn't. But with that, it's given me something else. And I don't know if I needed to have that something else, and now all of a sudden, because this has happened, things like swing back in the other direction. It doesn't matter. But what we came to by the end of the conversation, which is what he said to me as we hung up, was, Well, may you look forward to a newfound freedom. Because I was actually feeling very uncomfortable this morning because I was like, there's a sign that's been sitting out the front of the church near where I live in Mossvale, and it's like, a soul without a high aim is like a ship without a rudder. And I've lost all my high aims because, you'll notice this everywhere where people find a good thing and they'll take the piss so they've got a job for life. I'll work my way out of any job by fixing the whole lot and then I've got to move on. Now, the problem I've got here is I've become absolutely established. I've got all the gear. We're talking like steel chainsaws with welders, plasma cutters, MIGs, 5 or 6 generators, all the farming equipment, just all the tools and good quality stuff too. And I'm like, I've got to the end of this road. I've got no more toiling to do, and toiling has been a big part of what I've needed to understand now. Toiling can stop us from actually stepping into faith. Toiling is when we're still not comfortable with stepping into faith. And the faith that I needed to step into today was like no longer looking to toil as a way from stopping myself from going into the next level. And what was the next level? This newfound freedom, but not understanding what it was yet until I heard that, because I felt very uncomfortable when I heard that word, newfound freedom, those set of words. So with that newfound freedom, I was like, and I actually wrote something about this yesterday without even knowing it, so I was all over the top of it, and I was like, why is this freedom thing now? It's today on the 4th of July, and like we're in Australia, but like in America, it's Independence Day. And independence is freedom. And I was like, so there's a bigger issue sitting here because where, I was saying how people, they'll take the piss with government jobs, with any type of job really, where if they can see they've got a good thing, they'll slow things right down to ensure they've always got work to do. As an entrepreneur, I'll always work myself out of a job. It is what it is. And with this one here, it is what it is. I know that God will have something big for us next because I need, big projects. Just, it's my nature. But since not having any of those projects, because I brought them all into completion and now I've got this flood that's going on, and I woke up this morning for the first time since I started my spiritual journey, essentially, with no direction. There was another time when I had this, when I finished my big bench press. I didn't set a goal beyond it. But this time around, like, I'm aware of, it'll send you into a depression if you're not, clear and prepared for what comes next. Anyway, so this newfound freedom. When I heard that, it shifted something inside of me, and I was like, is it possible that even if we have freedom, it's like a cage with a door that's open, but we're comfortable with our commitments that are essentially the burdens that we are carrying? And then so I'm going through this process today where it's like, so you're actually telling me I'm not beholden to this anymore. And like, it's not that I've outgrown it. I've outgrown it, sorry. So I've outgrown the need to be beholden to something like a job to be able to supply what the answer is. And what is the answer? It's financial independence. Right? So, when I was reading this within the Fool earlier, it's just popped up back now. Discover your investment options, right? People seeking to invest have a high range of options. There are many types of investments that can provide varying returns over time. Different investment strategies also come with different characteristics and risk profiles. This means that certain types of investments may better suit specific investors depending on their stage of life and risk tolerance. Many investors choose to invest in a range of investment classes and various investments within each category. For example, An investor may own multiple ASX shares and other assets such as property and bonds or bonds. Now, there's like a stratification here of different investments, and they've got what you would call defensive and growth investments, where you could have global shares or local shares, property, fixed interest, bonds, cash, gold, cryptocurrency, etc. And what I'm actually looking at there is like, it's kind of saying you either work for your money or your money works for you. Now, just recently, like, I've been getting heavily into economics, which is what it is. I like Forex. It is what it is. To the point where you'll buy books to have next to you in the toilet so you can sit there and read about, the foreign exchange market whilst you go to the loo. It is what it is, And you want to know what it's about? It's because I've got to the point where it's therapy. Yeah, we all need something. So for me, I like to do something like, for example, I like to be doing a trade where I can then, play my guitars and stuff between trades. So I've got my den. And so I wasn't looking at initially I wasn't looking at the foreign exchange market as a means to be able to earn an income, but it's actually handed me the answer to a bigger problem that I couldn't get my head around the conundrum with. And so what I was looking for in regards to a therapeutic outlet, the reason why I chose foreign exchange is because I personally am sick of people. And I was like, Forex to me means that I have complete control over my own reality, where no one else can dictate the way I choose to make money outside of things that I am beholden to. So the issue with these properties that I've been managing is, in order to earn an income off those, you're beholden to them. It's a burden that is always there, right? Now, here's the funny thing. So what happens when you bring things into completion and there's no longer the burden there? There's no longer the beholden. Freedom. But we don't see it as freedom. And the reason why we don't is the conundrum with the matrix. This is the damn truth bomb. Freedom comes with a price. And what is the price? We need to be able to have assets to be able to create financial independence so that we can take ownership of our own time and choose to do what we want with it. That's actual freedom. Now, so for me, Forex is fantastic. I mean, I wouldn't call that complete freedom, but it does give you an independence where you are beholden to no one. And it's been the beholden to people, to anyone, to systems, to anything else. That's the crux of why I got locked up. The system, the matrix, you got 3D and you got 5D. I could never figure out why, when I used to go to seminars and conferences, say for example, where I used to live back at a place called Moree, I'd go to these conferences in Sydney and I'd be just scolded for going to them, where I was like, well, actually, they're just common sense to me. And I was like, why do I see common sense of these things, but I'm getting scolded, right? And as I was saying, this happened back when I first had my original lockup. Obviously, I've discovered what you would call the Jezebel spirit was driven through some of the individuals that caused the havoc that I had to deal with. But what was the grander issue? What was the biggest issue of all? People that don't like to see people not beholden to anything. So I found, the first time I found financial freedom and I broke free of the matrix, that's what gave me my spiritual awakening. The second time, they locked me up too quickly before I got to have it happen. And because this is beyond fear, like, people hate to see not just success in others, but they hate to see someone not have to be beholden to anyone or anything. That freedom, they hate it. Look, that's ego, but ultimately that's coming down to what is the core wound of this planet, which is codependence. So what we're talking about with these adult children that are running around with their control matrices right now, they're trying to keep hold of global codependence, where we have to be beholden to something in order to be able to survive. So for myself personally, I've outgrown that. And this fall was just because I was looking for meanings. I've been quite well off for a period. This was my own research today, because I was trying to understand. See, God's funny. When you get buried, so I haven't just been buried, I've outgrown the soil and I've pushed through now, and this is it. I've had a truth handed to me so big that there's nothing going back. You can't bury us now. And I know that what I've discovered today has more value than $1 billion. It has more value than all the other stuff, because this is the message that needs to be put out there to set everyone free. Now, the issue I've got is, especially with the way the financial market is around the world at the moment, so the cryptocurrencies, they've failed. So we've got gold, and then we've got commodities, whether that be wheat, cattle, or anything else. We've got cash, we've got bonds, we've got property, we've got shares, we've got currencies, we've got indices, etc. For me, as I've been delving and looking through, different channels to be able to try and find a cutting edge, when I look into something, I am looking for the Holy Grail. And, no one's going to find it, but it just is what it is. This is why we do our research. And what I am coming to understand just as we speak is, it's you either work for your money or you get your money to work for you. The problem I'm finding at the moment, when I look at the share markets, when I look at foreign exchange, when I look at property, when I look at indices, when I look at commodities, cryptocurrencies, when I look at all that stuff, which is investment, using your money to work for you, it's taking too much money for too little return. You're needing too much money to do too much work to get too little return. We're talking lemon-flavored peanuts, which, now that we take a look at that, see, this is where we're talking about financial independence. It's saying that you need to have money to then make money, and it's well, then there's the next conundrum, because it pulls in that you've got to go back to savings is important. I get that. So we need to diversify, if you want to call it a personal portfolio, but beyond diversify, this is where I've got this decision that I've got to make now, where after seeing that you could invest what you earn, but knowing that what you invest, it takes too much for too little of a return, it's just not a really good time to be getting right into this stuff, but it is a great time to be learning about it when it is time to get right into it. What I'm doing at the moment is riding the waves of the crashes. It's not a time for investing, it's a time for riding waves, taking advantage of volatility. But in regards to seeing how financial freedom is being established in this situation through investing, it comes back to, the age-old, why did we look at Amway? Why did we look at Herbalife? Why did we look at those companies? And for myself now, looking back onto it, you've got to outgrow the matrix to finally see why those companies are now worthwhile taking a look at. So with financial independence, you either have assets that will pay you enough out of their own recurring income so that essentially you don't have to work, and what you have, it's cream, feeds you. And I've already experienced this, where, did you know that when you retire is when you end up with full-time work? Because the hobby that you actually like and that you're good at, it will then put you into a scenario where you'll be doing 60 to 80 hours a week. So retirement's crud. And then you're beholden again to... So once you retire, you then become beholden to hobbies. And it's so when do we end here? So God loves someone that loves a commitment. And where I'm at right now is, with this newfound freedom, is understanding, first of all, yes, we can use money to make money, and I think it's a dire shame that economics isn't just a commonplace thing within schools. It should have been, because money makes the world go around, and we should have been taught how to understand it. And it's only once you end up in a scenario where you end up wealthy that you'll have to start looking into it to understand it, manage it, etc., to then recognize that, like, you got accountants and lawyers, they definitely help make the world go around, but economics is what they're trying to manage, the legalities behind it, or accounting, what's going on with it. So I think that this system, which has been put together with being beholden through codependency, that needs to crash. And Nisra, there'll be a new financial system that's going to come in, so there'll be a swap over and exchange with it. That's why riding waves and just taking advantage of volatility is just like, watching something crash, get in on the sell. That's all you can really do right now in regards to using money to make money. But for myself, now that I found this newfound freedom, where my question came was, if I give my time away, because we're talking time is more important than money, if I put my time elsewhere, these places that I'm taking my time away from, they might not be able to afford to get the time back. And I'm like, I'm willing to put it this much, but now I've made the decision where it's like, well, I'm going to put it elsewhere now. And what this means is these assets that I have developed, which are always going to be there because just thousands of acres of land, as and when things need to happen, you just do them because they're my damn hobby. I like doing them. But where I'm at right now is, because I now understand that the journey was growing into someone who was looking to find what we call financial independence, my mindset has gone beyond needing to feel beholden to that job to be able to support me, to where what I am now going to establish properly, because I've got the foundation in place to do it, is financial independence, so I'm beholden to no one, so that what I'm looking after is simply a hobby that is something that I can do because I choose to do it. This is something that I think a lot more people will grab, probably sooner rather than later, because I know that because of the weather and the climate and just the economy and the way everything's functioning in general, I wouldn't be the only person that's seen this, but you can't rely upon a day job to be the thing to support you for the rest of your life. You just can't. But you've got to understand the why. And that's why I'm trying to explain the why to you within this video. That why essentially is, look, it's coming down to inner child wounds that aren't being healed. But these people that will try to control, the naysayers, the haters, the people that are jealous of the fact that you're trying to do something to better yourself, I don't know why they would be so stupid to stop you from trying to find financial independence when they should be looking to find it also, but they haven't got to that point because they don't have the awareness that that's something that you need to be looking for. That's what I was saying about it's time to forgive. So the people that are sabotaging the lives of those people who are trying to better themselves are people that don't recognize that you need to find independence beyond being beholden to something that is put there deliberately to keep codependence in place. It's hard to be able to go back once you've heard this. It's a truth bomb, which just is what it is. We're all supposed to find financial independence where the jobs, the day jobs that we do, are supposed to be more of a hobby because it's something that we enjoy doing, which can be a career. It's a career. But even though it's a career, even though it can pay well, it shouldn't be our financial independence. So we need to be able to create a split between careers and hobbies and what we use to be able to keep ourselves beholden to no one, so that the day jobs that we do is something that we choose to do because we like obligations. See, God loves someone that loves commitments. It's like having children. It's like having pets. Like, there's something. it's getting back to the psychological needs, contribution and growth. We start to find spiritual growth when we're contributing. We're doing something beyond ourselves. So when we get our needs met, our certainty and our security and our ability to feel important and all the rest of it, like we're trying to fulfill the complete hierarchy of needs that Maslow has explained. So that's why I couldn't figure out why because I had a mind-blowing spiritual awakening when I first did this 12, 13 years ago, and it's because I filled all the needs. And where I'm at right now is I haven't just filled the needs this time around, I've outgrown it, and I'm not having the mind-blowing awakening. It's just I've had a truth that's just, it is what it is. And with that, I've had 12 to 13 years of solid research and study and just constant refining and development of wisdom and just serving our good Lord Jesus Christ to get to the point now where, we are refined scholars and we are the future. So again and again and again, what we're all looking for is financial independence. Don't doubt that for a moment. That financial independence, the moment you start sniffing around looking for it, that's when your nearest and dearest will try to control you. Don't hate them for being bogged down and caught up in an old way of thinking, which is just essentially being subservient to a system that relies upon you being controlled by it. It's just, slave mentality. Don't hate them for it. It is your job to find that independence and fight for it and get it so that you can, not beyond proving it to them. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need their validation. They will be dismissive. They will dismiss everything. They'll teach you to validate yourself. You will recognize that the only reason you're doing this is because you need to do it for you. But with that financial independence, especially with the way the economic markets are at the moment, using money to make money isn't such a fantastic thing. It's something, if you've got money to do it, brilliant. It's pointless being attached to it and getting upset about it. I mean, it's all speculation ultimately. Once you get good at it, it's not gambling. I mean, you've got to break it down to see that none of it's gambling. It's just calculated risks. But I think it's time, and I'm not saying Amway's the answer, I'm not saying Herbalife's the answer, but dead set, the typical means of developing a residual income through assets by getting our money to work for us, with it not being such a fantastic thing, we've got to look into developing businesses that join networks. There it is. Network marketing businesses, I feel, after being able to get myself into a position to be able to say this with credibility, because I've got the freedom to do as I want now. I think network marketing is the key to be able to provide a better future for us to all, to be able to tap into something much greater, which will allow us to all develop that residual income that we need to be able to then do our day job as a hobby instead of using it as something to be enslaved to. There it is. We all found it together. Take this and run with it. Financial independence, we're looking for it. These things do not happen overnight. You will want to start reading Tony Robbins' books. You will want to get into, there's another one, What I Didn't Learn at School But Wish I Had by Jamie McIntyre. You want to read that one too. Don't blow off network marketing. When it comes to those books, they'll say nothing about it, but honest to goodness, with the way the financial markets are at the moment and property and everything else, I think physical products where you have groups of people coming together looking to be able to better themselves, where they only have to put a little bit of an input in monthly, which is to part of a much greater collective where everyone gets fitter, smarter, healthier, more knowledgeable. Just like it's the narcissistic people that have ruined network marketing. Network marketing is really good. So, happy July 4th. I don't know which one I'm going to choose. I may actually go back to Amway. Why do I say that? I don't know, because I've had 3 or 4 attempts at it. It's the people that I had around, and the people that I had around are the ones that prefer to be enslaved to a system of thinking, and they want to have their earnings attached to a job that they want to have the ball and chain. So the ball and chain thinkers are the ones that are going to try and put the ball and chain on you. That's where you're just like, no, catch you later. So if you want to get free of the ball and chain of life, the rat race, you want to get free of the people that need to have that ball and chain to be able to feel like they've got to survive. You want to get rid of that survival. You may end up in a scenario or a situation where, entrepreneurially speaking, that you earn enough income to get to a point where you then have the finances to be able to start using that to be able to get into stock markets, property, commodities, etc. But even with that, you'll find that whatever cash that you have there, it's like, do I want to invest this here? It looks like too much money needed for too little return. So all you might want to do is just fiddle there, surfing waves on potentially forex markets. Or do I want to invest that into something like a network marketing business where I only need to deal with a few people, and those few people then deal with a few people, and you're focused on what's in front of you in the here and now. You're consuming products that essentially are going to be making you a healthier individual, where ultimately your meaning of life's going to go through the roof, and you'll actually find fulfillment and want to become a better person. See, I'm a personal trainer. Nutritionist is being a part of it too, and with it I could most definitely enjoy using those products and getting back into the gym and getting healthy and reading those self-development books and enjoying the knowledge and actually getting around people on the same page. And I could enjoy doing that. It's the ball and chain thinkers that ruin it for you. So what is the matrix? It's the ball and chain thinkers. Codependent ball and chain thinkers. Today is your 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. The independence that you're after is financial freedom. Financial independence where you are beholden to no one. That doesn't come easily. It happens over years. But when you get to the point that you've got it, you've then got choices on how you want to expand it. This newfound freedom that you've got, that you will have found through us speaking, it hurts at first. Freedom hurts, man. And freedom can get really boring. So the freedom is not being beholden to someone. You'll come to understand that nobility and duty is important. We are here to be guardians and to serve and protect. So, purpose. But you want to be able to pursue that purpose with what you are the guardian of, that you serve and protect. You want the financial independence to not be beholden to something that is like a ball and chain. That's the split that you want. And it's either going to be use savings to get into currency markets, or it is get into something like network marketing. Or is it time to start a business with products right now? Who knows? But these are places where you get to make your own choices. I've seen it enough times to know that network marketing could work if you didn't have the ball and chain thinkers. So Russell Brunson has put a book together on how to put funnels together for that. That is, I've got that. It's something that I've had sitting to the side before I guess I was going to make the decision to get involved with it. We need to have the posture to discern a ball and chain thinker and get rid of them quick smart. They want to be in 3D, leave them to it. We're talking about we're splitting the wheat from the chaff. Ball and chain thinkers, freedom thinkers, financial independence, pursuing purpose, not beholden to anyone or anything, in control of our own destiny, going towards the reality that we choose to create out of our own brilliance. May Jesus Christ bless you. May the Heavenly Father guard you. May the Holy Spirit guide you. Much love, peace. I hope this reaches who it needs to reach. Bye.